All right, so welcome to Thursday morning session. It is the 19th of August. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some work in the background here and hopefully not have that happen. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to pop on the share screen. Perfect. And I just forgot to do one other little thing. I like to record this on a separate app just so that we can have high definition of it and I can review it properly. So I'm just quickly set that up. I forgot to do that before the session started. That's okay. All right, so for those new watching or those new to the DTB system, the strategy that we're using is the analytical bar strategy, and we've been using this strategy in particular together with a few of the indicators in the DTB system, and that includes the Fibonacci levels, which are very effective, as well as a trend following indicator that just helps with trend and keeps you in the market longer if you are watching that on a different chart. So there are 4 subscriptions in the DTB system. This particular one that we're working on here is the $29 per month subscription. And that is just the one focus strategy with the indicators we just discussed. Otherwise, the entire DTB system is available for $21 per week. And that includes over 30 indicators, strategies, and tools, and all the training for them too. There is a risk associated with trading, and I have to show you these. So I got this from the NinjaTrader website, and that's very important to look through to understand. Perfect. So I'm going to pop on my VPS, and I've been running some optimizations earlier today. So the deal with the analytical strategy is it works through the strategy analyzer, and you're able to optimize quite a few different aspects of the parameters in the system. And for those who have worked with it, you'll know that when you run optimizations and you get the bar sizes right and you get the session and you get the settings right, you can have absolutely phenomenal results on it. So I've just run a few optimizations earlier and I took some screenshots of those optimizations. So I was working with a few different variances in the settings. So trading stops, I just increased the values a little bit. So instead of having a 60 maximum value, I made it as 100. So I'm just looking at a few different options. So I ran this optimization earlier. And also what we're doing, because it is Thursday, we don't have to analyze all the data from the previous week up until now. We're only starting from Sunday night. So we're analyzing slightly less data, and that's going to give us the current heartbeat of the market for the current time. So this is an optimization I ran. I changed the first repaint to true, second one to false, true for the third, and false for the fourth, using the trading stops. So this was just to see what type of different results are available when doing that. So that was one. We just look at the MNQ first. So 485 with a 94 drawdown. So that was one option, and that was just the result. So that was the last 3 days results if those strategy settings had been active. And okay, that's looking at so that's the MQ. This is the slightly different settings again. So using the 51. I optimized the second repaint and optimized the fourth in this instance. That gave slightly different results. And I'm just flicking through here. Okay, so on this specific one too, I also optimized the bar size as a different value. So I used a 10 and a 10 bar size instead of the 51 that we've been using. So that just shows you there's all different parameters that can be used for this. And just by changing it from a 51 bar size to a 10-10 bar size, we've come up with a higher net result as well as a lower drawdown. So, that is the good thing about, just switching between that. So like there is a 10-10 bar size. This one is also a 10-10. Just make sure. And this is back to the 51. So there's a few different variances and options that can be used with the analytical strategy and getting the different values. So there's one final optimization that I'm running at the moment. And I'll just see how far that is from being completed. Just give me a second. There we go. It's actually ran. I just ran this different variation as well, just to see what this would look like. We'll go through those results in a second, but let's carry on and look at the NQ in this example here. So 51 bar size, 710. So these would have been the results for the previous days had they been set. And this is still also for the 9 till 11 a.m. zone. It's only for those 2 hours trading session. So we're going to look at these. I'm pretty happy to go with something like this for today's session, like a 7 and a 10. And it'll be true, true, true. So all of the repaints will be true. We're going to be having a 55 trailing stop and 100 target. So the good thing about the analytical strategy now is using the trading stop option, as we've discovered over the last few sessions, is you can actually move your stops and your targets. So that can be done during the session, and by watching out for those Fibonacci levels on the chart from that indicator, that's going to give us some assistance in that. So I'm quite happy to use one of these settings. So I'm going to be looking between, so far, according to all my results, we are getting the best results on that bar size. So 6. So this one over here too. So here's the 51 bar size, and we've got the 9-10. So this one here has got only a 630 drawdown with a 73% accuracy. That's a very high accuracy. And the settings are 9-10-0 with true, false, true, false. So that's what I think I'm going to be using for this session.
Am I supposed to be following along with you?
You can just watch along. This is just some optimizations I've done earlier.
Okay.
We're going to be setting them up just before the session, just before we apply them to the chart. So we'll set them up on this. But you can just follow along with what we're looking at on the screen, so you can see what the different options are. Yeah. So between between the NQ, like that result 6-6 and 630. If you look at the different results, there's the 710. Very similar results over there. A lot more trades though. So there were 82 trades in that situation compared to the 34 in this one. So that's, I think, is what we're going to be using for this session. So we only had 6 trades in the last session's results to give us those results, and the previous was 16. So the previous day, had those settings been active, we would have had a $3,300 day on 16 positions. And if you remember yesterday, in the beginning of the session, we actually saw these results in the list where we ran the optimization. And I didn't choose it because it was quite a large jump from the previous day. And then we went with different settings. But had we have actually stuck with those settings and chosen those settings from that analyzer, or the strategy analyzer, we would have actually had that result yesterday. So I guess that's just something we've got to keep in mind, is looking at the different results in the optimizer. It is kind of a luck of the draw which ones we're going to select and which ones are going to be extremely profitable. I guess the only other way to counteract that is having a few different charts running at the same time, even 2 different settings at the same time. So one that yielded very high results and another one that has shown a steady rise. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to be applying these settings to the NQ chart today. So I'm going to pull this aside, and while we're looking at that, I'm also quite happy with the results from the MNQ. So if you look at the MNQ settings, you've got the 970 with true, false, true, false. So the settings on this specific page are perfect. So we're going to apply those settings to the chart. I ran an optimization on a 150 bar just to see what that looks like. So this is a trending baseline chart. And it just shows you the results from yesterday and the previous days. So just going to bring this up. So the results on these, you know, I thought I would see something different, but I'm happy to just stick with what we were working with, which was the 50 and the 1. So if I run the optimization again, I'm going to just change this to false. So true, false, true, false. So if I run this optimization like this, using the same parameters as we did yesterday, so 9 till 11, and the trailing stop, I have increased the trailing stop, the target, to 100. So the only difference I made was, you know, was lowering the trailing stop value. So instead of having it from 20 to 60, I made it from 50 to 60. So it just has less calculations that the analyzer has to make. And then I made the target ticks from 60 to 100. So targeting a much higher value for the targets. Because what I've been finding is when I run the strategy analyzer, all the results that pop up are in the high numbers. So the lowest I've seen is 45 plus. So it's no use running from 20 when the results are all coming up in the 40s, because if you're going to be starting from 20, you're going to have a many more iterations running, and the optimization takes longer to finish. I'm still sticking with the 110 and the 110. And so the only option I'm changing here is true, false, true, false. So these trade repaints, so that's basically the decision that the strategy makes to enter on multiple bounces off those brick walls. So what this is saying, it's going to act on the first bounce, but not on the second one. It's going to act on the third one, but not on the fourth one. So sometimes you'll have the price bouncing a little bit, and sometimes that second bounce is like a retest, and it might enter a trade in the sell direction, but it was just a retest of a previous level. So sometimes having that as false is actually very beneficial. And I'm also running the optimization from the beginning of this trading week. So yesterday we ran it from the 8th. We theoretically could actually have run it from yesterday, also the 15th, instead of the 8th. And I always just run it till the end of the week. You can run it until the next day, which is the 20th, but it's fine. I just get into the habit of making it the following day. And once that has been set up, I can click on run. So it's only 5,400 iterations. So it's less than the 8,600 that we've been running the last few days. So by only running that value, the process is much quicker. So that's the whole idea of this group 2, was to try and get values or limit down the values that we are optimizing, so we don't take unnecessary time and unnecessary range that we're working with. Okay, so I'm going to just save this template, and I'm going to call it, let me just see, I'm going to call this one, so we're still using the 51 bar size, 1 to 10. So that's all good. So I'm going to put here true, false, true, false. That's just so I know what I've done with the optimize. Okay, so we'll let this run, and we'll just, even though I said I ran it earlier, we'll just do a fresh running of those optimizations, so we can actually click on the values and see the see the graphs of the previous days in the history. Okay. So a nice short window we're working in. just a 2-hour window. So the good thing is, you know, running this type of a value under 6,000 takes under 3 minutes to run. So that's pretty handy. So there's not too much preparation you have to do before the session. It is a good idea to optimize a few different ranges just to make sure that what you are optimizing is definitely giving you the best results. I haven't worked too much with the different bar sizes. I've only worked with the 10, 10, and the 51 at this stage. But this is what's coming up. Okay. So we'll increase that and increase that. So basically what it's saying that if it says the combined results, so if you compare, if you do the best results of the NQ and the best results of the MNQ over the last 3 days, then these would have been the results obtained. Now, you obviously cannot foretell that, but the best we can do is look at what results are working now and actually go and apply them ahead. So it's shown some good results this week, started off small and then has gone up. So I'm happy to apply that setting to the chart. And the only difference between all of these saying 970, 970, the only difference is the trailing stop and the target. So if you put your cursor over the top one, it's going to say a trailing stop of 50 and a target of 85. This one is 60, 95, 50, 90. So it's just giving those type of values, and it can basically filter through the results and see, you know, which one looks the most promising. So the top one definitely looks the most promising. So that is the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on template and I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to call this MNQ live trade like we did yesterday. Save it, and yes. For the NQ, we have got the 9, 10 values are perfect. So we've got a 60 trailing stop, 75 target, 55 trailing stop, 100 target. So it seems like any of these are producing very similar results. So I'm happy to stick with this one here, just because the target is going to be 75 and the trailing stop is going to be 60. So it's just a bit larger than the size of the candle. Right, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go select it and go template and save. And I'm going to call that the NQ live. Perfect. So now that we've got that done, we can actually go to our chart. We can set up a chart. So if we haven't got a chart open, we can go new chart and we can select the MNQ over there. And we're going to use the 51 bar size. We're going to be using a custom range of days to match the optimizer. So we always got to make sure we're matching the optimizer. Now, with the chart, you can only select today's date. If you select tomorrow's date, it will automatically adjust to today's date. So we'll just set that up like that. I'll move this one out the way. And to make it easy, because we know we've got the settings right on here. We know we've got that's the wrong settings. We know we've got the bar size right on this chart. So if we go to data series, we know we've set that up correctly, the 51 from the dates. We just need to use break at end of day. So that was one thing. So I selected that when I loaded up the chart, but then for some reason it took it away. Very interesting, NinjaTrader. Okay, so now that that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go duplicate window. It's going to create another window of exactly the same bar size. And then change this one to NQ. And we are we are keeping a record of our trades this week. So I'm going to use the same accounts that we have been using since the beginning of the week and do that. So hide the chart trader just so it's out the way. Okay, and then go and add our strategy. So the first one we're going to go load is our strategy, and we're going to pop that onto our MNQ chart. So I hope you guys are following along, right? So we are
following, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching.
That's fine. You can do it. You got a few minutes to do it anyway. You know, are you running your optimization at least?
I've got some of it entered, but yeah, I would need you to, when you said just to watch,
That's fine. We'll go through it quickly before. So while I'm setting up the strategy over here, I'm going to load the template. So template load, and I'm going to be choosing the MNQ live like this. So in your strategy analyzer, set it up that you're using the time slot. So you should have saved the template from the beginning of the week, or the template we've been using the whole week. So the only difference on that template is changing the trailing stop value from 50 to 60 as the minimum and maximum. And you could use the target ticks from 60 to 100 in increments of 5.
Okay, and you have that the trailing target and trailing stops.
Yes.
Got 50, like under trailing stop ticks, it says 50, 65. And then in the brackets, in the parentheses is 55, and yours was like 50. So as.
But you haven't run the optimization yet. That might have just been from the previous settings.
Okay. Okay.
So only once you've run the optimization is it's going to come up with the settings, the new settings. So I noticed that I put it on the wrong account. So the good thing about these strategies is they got buttons there to tell you which account you've loaded the strategy on. So you can immediately see that I've selected the incorrect account. So I'm just going to go and change that one to this account that we're working off. Okay, so we know that that's loaded to the right account, and then I can actually press start. And I know that my results over there are okay. So I'm going to go to my strategy on my NQ and just load the same thing. So we'll look at the analyzer quickly before we start, just to make sure that when yours runs, you've got the same settings, and you can apply this and let it run. The template load, oh crap. Let me just go to template load, and I'm going to be loading the NQ live chart, load it, and that pre-populates everything from there. And I'm going to be choosing the to account on bar close, apply. Okay, and that's giving me the correct settings. And I'm going to press start. So in 8 minutes time, it's going to start, 7 minutes time. So coming back to the analyzer. So if you can set this up right now. So from the very top, we'll go through the settings. So pull up your analyzer screen.
Got it.
Select your time slot from 9 till 11.
Got it.
Okay, and then your trading stop true 50 to 60 with increments of 5.
Yep.
Target ticks 60 to 100 with increments of 5.
Got it.
Setting A 1 to 10, setting B 1 to 10.
True, false. Got it.
So yeah, so true, false on the repaints. And then you're choosing your MNQ, NQ. So you've set up your instrument list, and we've got a 51. And we are setting from the 15th of August to the 21st of August using instrument settings and break of day on.
Yep.
You should have 5,400 iterations. Is that right?
Yep, that's what I got. And
Perfect.
I'm 1,500 in, so.
Beautiful. So that's it flies through it. So I've just run mine. Yeah, I've run mine a few times. So that's okay. So the buttons are going to tell you. So what I will do is I should have loaded the indicators first, but I'll load them on now. So I'm loading on the the indicator, the Fibonacci levels. So that's going to give me the monthly, the weekly, and the hourly and the 5-minute Fibonacci levels. So I'm going to apply that to the chart. And I'm going to do the exact same on the other chart. So indicators and the Fibonacci levels. So the good thing about these Fibonacci levels, even if you load 1 days of data, it's all the data is built into the indicator. So it's going to automatically pick up the levels from the last 12 months. If you're looking at the monthly levels, that's picking all of that up. So we're approaching some strong levels on the price. So we're coming up to the 50 and the 61.8. So those are levels that previously the price had bounced off. So this session, we're also going to be looking at using some of these buttons. So while we're actively monitoring the chart, we can choose to only enter long trades or only enter short trades or both. We can also move our stops and targets based on what we're seeing on the chart with the different levels and go from there. So I'll just deactivate my camera so we can have full access to the screen. And I just want to make sure that we are on. I'm going to open up the YouTube so I can see any comments and stuff on there. Where are we? Come on. So I can see. Okay, great. So that is all happening there. So Jim, good morning, Jim from Utah. Good to have you.
Where in Utah are you, Jim?
He'll tell us in a moment. So 2 minutes until our strategy starts looking for positions. So what you can do is to speed up your iterations is to untick the box that says add indicator to strategy, add chart indicator to strategy, and that just takes away some of the processing power that NinjaTrader has to do, and it'll speed up the results too. So I didn't actually do that today, which I really should have, because I was working with a few different bar sizes and values, so it would have been a good idea to actually do that. That's okay. I'm going to also just activate the chart trader, because if we're going to be, well, when we enter manual positions during the session, we are going to be using a 50-50 ATM. So ATM 50-50, there we go. I'll just have it active on the chart trader. We don't need to see it right now. Okay, so it's very interesting to see what's going to happen around this level. So right off the bat, I am actually only going to be selecting long entries. Because if you notice, we're at the 50% Fibonacci and the 61.8 Fibonacci. So if you're not sure which levels they are, I'm still actually getting to remember what they really are. You'll see on the indicator settings, it's got their deep pink for the daily. So that's the 50% on the daily Fibonacci. So it's a very, very, very strong very, very strong level. And we're also on the 61.8 of the blue, which is the weekly Fibonacci. So we're actually hitting daily and weekly strong Fibonacci levels right here. So that when that happens, you can take positions based on those levels too. So you can actually enter positions like entering a buy when the price touches that, because there's a very, very high chance that this price is going to resist that and break up. And I really should have just taken that from the beginning. It was maybe a bit too quick. I was setting up my my things, but that in those instances, you're taking a 50-50 risk reward trade. So you're entering a trade on the baseline like that, or right near or right on that level, and you're doing a buy order with the 50 take profit and a 50 stop loss. So immediately you've got a 1-to-1 risk reward, and that one there is very likely to hit its target. So that's also why I like this specific chart. Then looking at a 5-minute chart or any of the other charts, is this is going to show you a lot clearer where levels are, where baselines are, and where price is more than likely to be bouncing off and reaching. So really cool. So Jim is from Cottonwood Heights, Salt Lake City.
I got a son in Springville, Utah. So just wondering where you were compared to him.
You guys got some funny names over there, man. Salt Lake, Springville, Springwood.
Oh, you don't know the gist of it. There's all kinds of funny names. I'm from Kentucky.
Hillbillyville.
Oh yeah. There's Monkey Eyebrow, Kentucky. Actually, I live in Washington now, but
yeah. Actually, in Australia, it's not that much different, to tell you the truth. We've got some very odd names over here also.
Oh, we know.
I wasn't even going to South Africa. They've changed everything there to resemble the bush, old funny names from, yeah. Okay, so I'm probably not going to be expecting major fireworks during this session, but at least let's just have a look at the history of this chart. So we've only had 32 trades over the last 3 days, and looking at that, it's only been 7, 18, and 7. It's the history of this specific strategy's performance. This one over here, if we look at the strategy performance of this one, real-time and historical, we're looking at 6-4 with 34 positions. And looking at the analysis, it's basically 12, 16, and 6. So we're hoping that this upwards trajectory continues for this session. So let's see how we go. So I've just brought up my strategy analyzer again. I just wanted to check something on here. for some reason, and I do not know why, but for some reason the commissions are not showing. I don't know why the hell that is the case. It's a very recent thing, and I have not changed anything. So, but you know, when you are running the results on the chart, if you're looking at the strategy performance on the chart and you're bringing that up, it is including the commissions. So I don't know what NinjaTrader is playing at over here, because I loaded the exact same template from the strategy analyzer to the chart, and I clicked the button in the strategy analyzer to include the commissions, but for some reason the strategy analyzer is missing it. But it is included, so I do not know how to explain that. Just see what I'm going to just see what the margin I've got here. I've got 180 margin. I might just make that a 50 margin on the chart, and do the same on here. So just right clicking on the chart, going to properties and making this 50. So just so we don't have such a big gap on the right hand side of the price. And then I can load up the chart trader if we want to take our manual positions. Okay, we know we've got our ATM strategy there, so that's good. We don't need to see the whole window. I might even include an indicator soon that's got the chart trader buttons on the chart as well. So I might do that. So because I think this interface is very primitive. You know, the chart trader interface, it can be greatly improved on. I might have that as a separate tool to add down the track. So a bit of a no man's area at the moment. We're coming up to the 76.4 level. Now, if I look at the indicator on that, I keep forgetting what that one is. 76.4, and that's khaki, right? That is the monthly, is that khaki? That is the monthly Fibonacci 2 level for the 76.4. So I don't think it's a very powerful level, because this price has just been bouncing all around it. So I would not be comfortable taking a sell position over there, because it's just it has not shown a very strong resistance around there or support. So above that, though, we've got a huge gap for the price to travel up. So it looks like the price has struggled at this level over here, and we may actually be in for an upwards momentum for this session. So if we look at yesterday, I'm going to just flick this into a duplicate in a new tab, and I want to bring up the chart from yesterday. I want to bring up a chart from yesterday. So just changing this to a 15-minute chart. Okay. And if you remember yesterday on the call, let me just take this off. On the live Zoom yesterday, let's make this markers. We were at this level over here. This is where we were yesterday during the session. Towards the end of the session, I said there's a very high likelihood that this price is going to be going up based on all the levels below, and most of the strong levels were below the price. So the above was looking more promising, than below. And if you remember correctly, we also put in a zone. So I said the price was either going to go over there. It was more likely to go over there. And I remember putting this exact same zone. It was at the 50% mark. And we drew the levels over there. So I said, if the price doesn't go up to that level, it's going to come down. So what actually ended up happening is that very, very strong level, that 50 Fibonacci level, actually held yesterday, and it was even retested. It was even retested at this time. It came to be retested, and once they realized that they were going to struggle to take that price up, they pushed it down, and then they ultimately hit this level at the bottom. So that was to fulfill the average daily range. So once they hit that average daily range, once they fulfilled that average daily range, then they just bobbled the price around because they were basically done for the day. So that was good to look at yesterday. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So we've had a beautiful bounce off that 50% Fibonacci right at the very, very, very beginning of the call. Yeah, so Jim, I'll be working on that. I mean, there are actually some vendors at the moment that are producing some chart trader type of buttons and things for the charts. So just to make NinjaTrader look prettier and do things like that. And I think that's all they really focus on is just some little updates to toolbars, toolbars and buttons. They don't really provide anything of value when it comes to indicators and strategies and tools that are really good, but they seem to have a good knack for doing buttons and stuff. And I think they're reasonably cheap. I think I remember seeing somebody that's charging $8 a month or something like that to have fancy buttons everywhere. I don't know. I'll just include that for free when as included. So every single thing I develop for the Ninja or for the DTB system is always included in the subscription. So we could end up with 100 tools down the track, and we might even take some off that are not being used as much, because we also don't want to have unnecessary things. So, I mean, looking at this chart now, I mean, looking at the NQ, we kind of are in like a no man's land type of an area here at the moment. We've got the 76.4, then we've got the next strong Fibonacci below, we've got the next weak one below. So it's kind of unpredictable right now of where this market is going to be going. We have a brick wall over here that has formed, and you can see, so this brick wall formed all the way back over here. So that's when this brick wall formed over here. And then what happened is it changed color once the price broke through it. So those are the repaints. So when you're looking at the repaints, that is what repaints mean. So it changed color, and then it changed color again when it got penetrated again. So that's why you've got 3 different colors there in that on that brick wall. And what happened is the price came down, and it came to the tick and touched that brick wall and then bounced off it again. And then we come into the stage here where that price is on that brick wall. So we're at a situation here now where we could be getting a signal in the other direction. So we've selected long only. So I'm actually going to go on both at this stage. I should have clicked this earlier, sorry. I'm going to go both because I've got no specific preference of where I want the market to go, or because there's no supportive levels around it that I am leaning more towards longs or shorts only and that. So I'm going to let this run according to what the strategy is going to do now. And that way I can enter long and short positions and go from there. So our next strong level of support is this 50% here, and that is the daily 50%. So the gray level that you're seeing there, that's the 5-minute Fibonacci level. So I made it gray because they're going to be showing more on the chart than any of the other levels, because that is 5 minutes. So you're going to see them a lot more frequently than the other levels. So that's why they are in gray. Add a little bit of a bounce off that one temporarily. Yeah, it's not always, I wouldn't be taking that as a powerful signal. So I'm predicting though that when we have a break of when this price breaks to a new baseline, I think we're going to have a signal over there as a long position, because it's broken above that brick wall. So it all depends on when that happens and what the price is doing. So we're coming up towards the open, so that's why it's been a bit quiet. We haven't taken any positions yet, like any manual positions. You know, theoretically, there was probably one main one on offer, and that was when the price came to the 50%. So there was an opportunity to trade that one as a long. And even with the fixed target, they would have hit its target very comfortably. The 76, you know, we looked at that previously. It had shown that it wasn't a very strong level. Even recently, it's broken through. So not really a level that they're looking at, obviously. But even that one there, if that was taken as a long, that would have hit its target. But I would say that was a much less probable trade to have taken. While the market's very quiet, I'll just go look at the strategy settings. So with the strategy that you guys have here, obviously we discussed the time slots. So if you're ever using time slots, always do the AM hours first, even if you're trading into the PM. So you put AM hours first. So say you're trading from 6 PM till 3 AM, you would put there 12 AM to 3 AM, and then 6 PM to 11:59 PM. So you would have to just separate those into AM hours and PM hours first. Unfortunately, that's what they do. You can also choose a daily profit target and stop loss. So you can actually click that and use that. And what will happen is it will automatically respect those values. You can choose a fixed stop ticks and a fixed target ticks. And then but the only problem with those, well, not the only problem, the only thing is with those is they are immovable. So you're not able to move those stop ticks and target ticks. We have instead selected the trailing stop. So with a trading stop, it's going to put our stop ticks and target ticks, and it's going to give us the option to move them. Okay, so that's that, and then obviously you can use trend or reverse trades in your optimizer. We're obviously running the trend. You're ticking the boxes according to what the repaints are that we are trading. We're using a 3 slippage, so that's going to give us as close as possible results, even on back testing with the strategy performance. And we're only using 1 entry per direction. So there's small little positions. You know, I guess if you are trading the NQ as your main chart, and you on your live account and you got MNQ as well, you can take some manual scalping positions that are slightly more risk and take those type of trades like off the Fibonacci levels, and then you can still be making, you know, a few dollars on the side while you're waiting for the strategy to actually start working or start taking positions itself. So even if you've got the automated strategy running on a sim account and you've got your live account running next to it, and you just take manual positions based on what the strategy is doing, so you can even copy what the strategy is doing just by manual positions, and then, you know, have an ATM obviously in your chart trader. So just do manual positions, and then you can take your manual positions too in and around these Fibonacci levels. So Johnny Doe, yes. So the strategy two has got a feature in here that says ATM strategy. So if you, I'll just load another instance of this very quickly. So if you select the option for ATM strategy, you can select the one that you created. So with the ATM strategy, you can have you can put 1 entry per direction over here, okay? But if you've created an ATM that's got 5 entries in it, as an example, and 5 different targets, 5 different stops, 5 different trailing stops, 5 different move to break even, you can set up a complete strategy within the ATM interface in your chart trader. And then the strategy will still enter positions based on your settings, like your A and B settings. But your ATM strategy, your chart trader ATM strategy, will handle those positions once the strategy sends those signals to it. The only thing is, when you do select an ATM strategy, you're not going to see the performance of the strategy on the chart. And that's because as soon as the positions are handed over to the ATM interface, the ATM doesn't communicate back with the strategy to tell us, or to tell the strategy what the outcome was of those trades. So it's an incredible tool to use, but you're just not going to see those plotted positions on your strategy chart. Yeah, so far these Fibonacci levels have been very accurate. You know, it's all good to see in hindsight that they were accurate, but you know, as you watch them more and more over time, you're gonna start seeing how consistent they are, and then you can be taking those manual positions off those levels, even if you're just trading the price back to the baseline, or you're trading on the baseline to predict it's either going to break up to a new baseline or break down to hit your stop. So you can take those manual positions and then move your stops and targets accordingly. But that's definitely an option to use while you have your strategy running, even if it's on a separate chart. if you do want to switch over to manual, enter manual positions, you just have to click pause on your strategy like that. So if you click pause, it'll go red and it'll tell you strategy manually stopped. And then you can go enter manual positions in your chart trader. You can buy, sell over here. Just make sure that you use your stops and targets to close your position. Never click the close over here. Because if you click the close over here, it will disable the strategy. And then as soon as you finish with your manual positions, you can click the start button again, and then the strategy will take over handling any signals. So for the first 30 minutes or so of the session, I won't be taking any manual positions at all once 9 a.m. opens, because the price is going to be pretty frantic, and we'll just see what this automated strategy does during that session. So I'm just going to close off the chart trader so it's out the way. So some days from 9 o'clock, there's fireworks already, and then we have multiple positions entering. Some days it's going to be a lot quieter. Yesterday was quieter until the market opened. Well, until 9:30, should I say. So from 9 to 9:30, we were just basically watching the price do its thing. And only after the 9:30 open with the positions start happening. It is an extremely volatile period, though. So if you do want to just avoid the first 15 minutes, you can also do that. But judging from the strategy performance, so even if I just bring up this one over here, if I go real time and historical, in the 2 minutes that come up, and I look at the analysis, and I look at the let's see, half hour of day, and I look at the entry time, you see a lot start happening at that 9:30 mark. So that's why I'm letting it run during that period. Let's see if I can get some beats on the go while this is running. Okay. Yesterday I had a YouTube. Okay, so we've got positions that have started to open. I will just activate this chart trader, and unfortunately, straight off the bat, we had a losing position. But I'll just change the this profit and loss setting when it comes up again to actually show a dollar value. So we're coming towards the 50% Fibonacci. So I'm happy just to pull that a little bit below that level, just in case. There we go. It hit there very quickly, which is great. Okay, we're coming to the 50% Fibonacci here. So unfortunately, it broke through on the MNQ. So we'll hide that and we'll hide this. I'm just busy looking at some music in the background here.
Okay, Jason, you can resume. I'm back. Just kidding.
All right. Oh, come on. Unbelievable. Okay, I'm just trying to, I should have done this before, but that's okay. I'm just trying to get some music playing in the background. Okay, so just watching what's happening on the chart at the moment. The first few minutes have just been a little bit chaotic. Price has broken above the 50. Let's see if it holds above, or is it going to be shooting up? Again, anything goes at the open, which is looks like is what's happening. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm just running the analyzer on the MNQ again, just to see if I can, I basically had 4 losing positions in a row. So that's not cool. I don't want to see that. I want to just go and check if there's anything that's popping up in the optimizer that is going to give us a better setup.
I've got no activity. Is that normal?
Have you got any, your strategy is definitely active?
Yeah, it's going.
Okay, I'm going to just run this on the side and just see what is going on here. Okay, so this thing is really screwing with me today. We've had a bit of an issue here on the NQ as well. This 50, I'm going to just pop that in there because we're at a very, very strong 50 level. We're still in the first 10 minutes after the market open, so we literally are going any direction at this stage. Oh, and that's exactly what's happening. So same thing on the NQ, it's killing us over there. Okay, I'm going to pop on the strategy analyzer on the NQ and just see if I can figure out what is going on here with the results. Okay, run that. Okay. So has anybody used different settings to what I've had on my charts on from their strategy analyzer? I have muted a few of you guys, so if you need to unmute, that's fine.
Yep, mine's all the same.
Okay, so I'm just going to check on mine. So I'm just looking at 9, 10, 0. So bringing up my strategy analyzer. I'm just looking at the chart. Just going to compare that to my actual trading chart. I just want to see what is going on there. So we had that one. Do that. Okay. True false. well, we're actually having a bit of a shit fight at the moment, actually. 910.0. Let's see. So 910.0. True, false, true, false. It is switching over furiously over here.
Can you hear me, Jason?
I can hear you.
Good.
Okay, yeah, he was asking if anybody else was running different settings. For the last 3 days in the optimizer, mine came back with a 7.6 setting for all the results. And so I've been running that, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of doing the same thing as Jason. It's just swinging back and forth, you know, in profit, not in profit, in profit, not in profit.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it does.
See, with this trailing stop that we selected, it's after a larger target. So when these baselines do not break and the chain and the trade swings down, we're not getting those targets hit as frequently. But we are hoping that when this type of thing happens, that we've got a larger target and it runs for it, that it actually goes and hits it. Last thing we want is what this is doing here is to break up, but then actually break down. But we're in a buy, and the signal over here is still showing a buy signal on the NQ with these specific settings. So we should be going up on this one. Okay, then now it's changed to a sell signal over there. This one over here. We definitely want this one to hit its target. So what we'll do is if it returns to the baseline, which it didn't, it's good. So that was a nice long run on the MNQ. So that one hit its target way up there. But the only issue is we had a losing one on our NQ. Okay, so I've run the optimizer again on the NQ. It's still coming up with this 910.0. I'm just running this very quickly through again. I want to see if there's a mismatch though, because there could also be something that I'm not doing properly here. I've got to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I'm going to compare that in a sec. Wow, this thing is really playing a bit of havoc. So we got much larger targets on this. So if we had smaller trailing stops and things like that, these would definitely have followed a lot closer. MNQ is now starting to work very well on those settings. Just not sure about the NQ at this stage, so I'm going to just keep running this. Still coming up with those settings. Wow. Okay. Break at end of day. Data series. Break at end of day. 15. Okay. I'm just making sure I've got the right settings because my analyzer is giving me slightly different results. So I'm hoping that I haven't done something here that I shouldn't have. So it's 15 to 19. So that's right. Instrument settings. Okay. This one over here is 15, is also 15 to 19 with the instrument settings. Yep. Okay. So what is different? True, false, true, false. Again with the strategy. False, true, false. So that is all right. Everything there is set right. Okay, 19, 0, 60, 75. So we just need to get this thing to be more in tune with the market. This is again the 50%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that just a little bit closer to the price. Just being a 50%. There we go. It's just to make sure that that target actually gets hit, because we know that that 50% could be a strong level for price to bounce off, being the 50%. And it looks like that was a good option to do over there, because that is the 4-hour Fibonacci level that one's working off. Again, we're in the situation where it's doing the 50. Okay, so I'm still just let it go run as it is. Wow, so that 50 just broke. So that there's still hectic things going on at the moment. So the trail will work if it's just because the trailing stop is 60 and the target is 75. So because it has to move 60 ticks first before the trail actually follows. That's why you might not see the trail stop. So like this one over here, if you're watching this MNQ now and this price breaks right down here, you will see that trailing stop actually drop down. So the price is coming back to retest that 50. very high chance that's going to break, that's going to come down because that's a strong level. So I'm doubting that this is going to go up to form a new baseline. I'm predicting more that this is a retest of that 50 and hopefully it will come down. Nope. It's still too busy. Still too busy in the market. So our percentage profitability is a lot lower than what the history is suggesting. That is different today. So I'm going to just keep running the optimization in the background just to see if there could be a time during the session where we can get a change of that. So the price did indeed come and retest that 50 after it broke through. Okay, let me just see. Sorry, I missed a whole lot of messages on the chat there. Yeah, so I mean this, yeah, that's right. I mean, you can't have different settings. So Jim, you've been doing well on that. I chose this 51 bar after looking at a few different options, but we probably should have worked with, you can definitely optimize different bar sizes. But this on the MNQ is not looking crash hot at this stage. We're having a few losing positions in a row. NQ is, as well, is also suffering. So I'm running another optimization here, and I want to just compare the bar sizes again and the chart settings to see if there is maybe something out of whack with the optimization versus the actual results, because that's never been wrong before. Okay, so for the MNQ 490, that looks like the setting we were using yesterday, wasn't it? So 490, true, false, that there is showing us even up until today. If I look at the analysis, come on, so hard showing this on one screen. Showing us today that there was 24 trades and up 65. So that's what I'm actually going to switch over to those specific settings on that chart. So that is so what I can do is I can pause this like that. And to change the settings, I just go into the strategy like this. So you first pause it and then go into the settings. I'll disable it. Okay. And then I'm going to save that template on this top one here. So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to go template and save, template save, save, and I'm going to call it M&Q live like this, save, okay. Then remove this, go into the settings here, and pop it on. So template, load, M&Q live. It's changed all of those values again. And I'm going to go enable, apply, and okay. So that will set that up on this. But that's not matching at all. That is not matching my analyzer. So why? What is happened here? Something has gone out of whack. Something has gone out of whack with the analyzer compared to the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause this because clearly those settings are not matching my analyzer. So according to this, those settings that we just selected now, 490, we should actually be going up even today. So, and that did not reflect on that chart at all. So there's something out of whack with the bar, with the date, with something, and I can't figure it out at this very moment. So I'm going to just use more screens over here and just increase it so I can see what's going on. I'm going to bring up my chart, my bars, and I'm going to compare the actual formation of the trades and the bar and the the chart itself. So global and global. I need to do this. Come on. So that and that. Yeah, there's definitely a difference in the positions being entered. Okay, so I'm going to just switch this bar size because I think there's an issue with the bar size itself that we're using. It's just not matching my optimizations at all. So I'm going to switch the bar size. I'm going to run a 10-10. So we're basically using settings that are just out of whack with the analyzer. Should not be happening, but that's exactly what is happening over there. So I'm running the M&Q first. Yeah, so you're doing well on your settings, the 9-9 reverse. Yeah, great. That's really good. I can see I definitely need a team of people to manage the strategy and you know, help people with bar sizes and stuff. The whole idea of the trading room with this one is what I need. Okay, let's just quickly get this to work. So I'm changing it to a 10-10. The only thing I've changed is the bar size. Okay, so 590. So let me just save that. So template and save. And I'm going to call this the M&Q live, save, yes. Okay, so I'm going to watch those results. So 610. Again, the stupid thing probably hasn't got the commission built in. But so there'll be $60 out of that for the commissions. But that's okay. So 590. I'm going to check on that. So I'm going to first of all change the bar size. So data series, and I'm going to go 10-10. 10-10, okay. and then strategy. I'm going to disable this one, apply, template, load, and I'm going to try the new one that I just loaded. It's going to be the settings there, 590, which is what it's saying over there. Apply and OK. So that there is in line with what the optimizer is matching. Okay, so that's what I'm going to load on this one. I'm just going to quickly increase it just to compare my trades on the optimizer and the chart itself, and they are matching. Okay, so what you do is you bring up your strategy analyzer like this, and you compare. Again, it's so hard to do this on one screen, but you basically you have to compare the strategy analyzer itself, the trades on there, compared to the, compared to the trading chart. So if you scroll back on your strategy analyzer chart, you should be able to see the exact positions that were entered, and that's what you can see over there. So they're matching. They're matching. So that's good. So I'm going to let the MNQ run. Come on. So those are the new settings for the MNQ. Disable this thing to local. Perfect. Go back to the end of the chart. Come on. Why are you stalling on me? Okay, so let's watch this one in action. And I'm doing the exact same thing on the NQ. So I'm going to run the optimization on the NQ using a 1010 bar size for the rest of this session. So NQ 1010, running that. Yeah, so John, I've had a bit of a discrepancy between my analyzer and my my chart. So the actual performance of what was happening on the strategy compared to what the strategy analyzer was saying, there was different. So that means that the bar formation wasn't actually matching. So the settings that the analyzer was giving me was not working on the bar because there was something just out of sync there. Got to try to figure what that was. But I'll look into it after the session. Okay, so that's come up with those results. I'm not very satisfied with those, purely because the drawdown is quite high, and we've only in the 3.3, so there's a big difference to the 6,000. So it's about double. It's about double than it was before. So we might have to look at this and look at the trading stop. Let's have a look at the trading stop and the target. I'm going to change this over here, just the trading stop part, and make this as a 40 to 60. So we can have slightly larger, smaller values to work on. And I'm just going to play around with a few settings here while we're working. So running the smaller settings. Nothing's happening on the MNQ yet, so that's still going as it was. I'll keep an eye out on that. I'm going to just bring up my window for my optimizer that I ran earlier, because that gave me a few different settings too with regards to the NQ. So I'm going to just look at that and just see what is popping up on there. I've got that. Let me just see. 9, 10. Okay. So 390. True, false, true, false. Okay, so 710 0. Okay, so 710 0. True, 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 true. So if I go to my strategy here, so what you can also do is while it is there, you can actually go and modify the settings, and you don't have to activate the strategy, but you can apply the settings to the chart, but don't click on the start button until that's actually in play. And this one had a 55. So a 55 target and 100. So 55 and 100. Let's see what this one puts up on the chart. Apply and okay. I'll let this one run in the meantime while I'm running optimization on the NQ. At least that one has showed positive results on the last few trades. We're currently in a sell position on the MNQ. Still sticking with that sell. I am also going to just change something on my strategy analyzer just to update today's data only. I'm going to work with that. So today is the 19th. And I'm going to run that. Let's see. 1. Okay, so 1090, true, false, true, false. Wow, why is that coming up all the time? So 1090 with a 55. So strategies, it's not in a position at the moment. Okay, so 10-9. 10-9 with the 55. No, that's not at all what it's showing on my strategy analyzer. Come on. So I'm just going to my data series here, and I changed this to the 19th. So I'm going to see if that matches now. Okay, so that one does. That one does match. So I modified my strategy analyzer, and I showed today's data only. So I basically optimized today's data from the 19th to the 19th. So that's only going to show the current data on the chart. So I'll let this run for the remainder of the session on these settings. some quick switch over signals on the MNQ. I'm gonna do the same on the MNQ on the same data. And on a 1010. So 410.0. So if I pause this, I'm going to just pause this one. And I'm going to just switch over something over here. So I'm going to go data series. And I'm going to go to the 19th. I want to see if I can do the same thing I did on the other chart. So 19th to the 19th. Okay. And then I'm going to apply the strategy there. So it's coming up with a 410.0. Come on, why is it stalling on me? So 410.0. And my, what was the stop? 60 and 40. So trailing 60, target 40. Trading 60, target 40. So basically the trading is not affected there at all. So it just needs a 40 target. And start that. Okay, so we did some hot swapping over there. Not much action on the NQ since I changed those settings. Still in that situation of the long, and it had its target. I'm going to duplicate this in a new tab just to see for some manual entries that we can start taking. And it's been a little bit hectic with the size of the bar. So I'm actually going to switch over to a larger bar size. So even a 100 and a 1. So this is good for manual scalping positions when you're taking trades back to the baseline. Based on those Fibonacci levels, the Fibonacci level is on the baseline. So that's quite interesting, how the prices keeps coming to retest that level, 61.8. Do the same with the NQ. So duplicating new tab. And I'm going to make this one also a 100 one. So data series and a 100, 101. So we've had some big deviations. This one went as high as 95 ticks, very close to breaking to a new baseline there. Nothing happening on the NQ yet on the automated side. The 50 seems to be breaking away from that 61.8. I didn't keep a record or look at what was happening on the news front today. Okay, so we had the unemployment claims, non-farm payroll. What is that? 8:30. That was 8:30. Okay. So today was the non-farm payroll for Canada. Okay, that doesn't mean too much for us. Unemployment though for US. So that came out today. That probably threw a spanner in the works. And what have we got? So we've got natural gas at 10:30. Not too much. Nothing exciting that's happened in the last hour and a half. It's only the unemployment rate that actually that came out at 8:30. So that could have had quite a disruptive impact on the price today, throwing off the bar size and the strategy. So we've got, why is this thing not working? Okay. Seems like the setting is just too fine. There's too many brick walls and stuff happening over here. There's too many switch over of signals. Not very, very happy with that. So I wonder if I can just amend what's going on the chart here. So 410, 410, 410. 410 still seems to be the setting that's coming up. We'll just see how it plays out for the next short while. Coming to the 50% of the 5 minute. It looks like it touched that. And eventually broke through, which is good. We've had our first signal on the NQ, which has come through over there as a sell. I'm just running through a few different options on my analyzer to see what is going on there, to see if there's anything I'm missing. There's definitely something out of whack here. So difficult to concentrate at 1 in the morning. Let's just see. It's a trend and reverse. Let me just see. I'm clicking on this. Okay, it's a trading type, trend and reverse. Okay, so that's very interesting. I'm gonna switch over one of these settings over here. So I'm gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna change this data series on here to a. Before I do that, I'm just gonna quickly change my bar size. My settings on my parameters. So I ran the optimization for today's data, and I'm gonna switch over to this one over here. So this one over here that I just loaded up is a 50-10 bar size, a reverse 230. So I'm going to save this quickly as a template. So template, save, and NQ live, save, yes, okay, and it's a 50-10. So this is going to be the first basically exposure to this group with the reverse trading. Okay, so strategies, and I'm going to load up the settings on there. Okay, template, load. It looks like it's the reverse. It's kind of a reverse type of a day by the look of it. It just seems to be they're not hitting their targets. There's more stops being hit than targets. So this is telling me that we more in for a reverse type of a situation. So we'll see how this plays out. So this is a reverse trade now. So it's telling us on the settings over here. So it's a 2-3 reverse. So buy signals are sell signals and sell signals are buy signals. On this one, on the MNQ, I'm actually going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to run the MNQ on the same bar size and on the reverse, because it just seems like our trend trades have not been very effective. It's probably better to figure this out sooner rather than later. Let's see, 310. So that's not producing fabulous results over there. I'm going to switch over to a 51 chart and run that. It's a 51. The optimizer is almost finished. So this is showing me a 460. Why is it coming up with 460? Okay, I'm going to pop that on there. So that's showing me trend 460. So I'm going to save as a template quickly. So template, save. Okay, so strategies. So strategies, and it's a template load. MNQ. I'm going to try one thing. I'm just going to adjust the targets on these just to see, being a trend trade, I'm going to just adjust the target on this to 20 and to see what that does with regards to the actual positions. Okay, so that's activated now. Oh, it's not. So much smaller targets. So when the price is bouncing around a baseline and it's in a trade, it should be hitting its target a lot more regularly. What the hell happened over here? So strange, we've got a trend and a reverse trade running at the moment, or strategy running. So Jim, let us know how your strategy is continually going. You're running on. You've kept the same, no stops and no targets. Okay, yeah. Often you'll find that having no stops and no targets is absolutely brilliant with this strategy. So Johnny and Jim, I should get you guys to run these sessions. What am I doing here? Telling you, I've been working the entire day and going to bed after 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm completely screwed mentally and physically. But that is, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, good.
Thanks a lot, Jason. I got to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. So for the last 30 minutes, I'm going to be looking at the larger flat baseline charts and popping some scalping trades on there. So let's see how we can progress with that too. So we've got our Fibonacci levels that we can also work off. We can take trades back to the baseline also. So we'll still let the strategy run on the other charts. Chart trader, there we go. So these strategies will still continue running and we'll keep an eye on them. So these are just for like scalping trades. Like you can use the baseline as a target. You can use Fibonacci levels as points of entry. I don't know if I'm in the right cognitive presence to be doing this effectively, but we'll give it a go. And also when trades are running, that was the automated one in action there. It's probably best if I move this to a new chart, actually. But I won't. I'll keep it like that. So there's nothing stopping this price from going down to the I mean, that's the next level over there. The closest next strong level is up here. So if anything, this would be a buy back up to the baseline. The next strong Fibonacci level is the 61.8. So even if you put this just the other side of that baseline break, which is over there. So if you come on, if you see where the next baseline is, it's over there. So you're predicting basically that the price is more likely to return to the baseline than can break through a Fibonacci level that has the price is held above since. And while that's moving, you could theoretically move your stop as you go. If you've got an ATM programmed for a trailing stop on that, I mean, especially if it's gone up into profit, and then at least if it drops you out, you will be at a break even there. Oh, great. Okay, so Jim, your reverse is doing well. That's good to see. The price is coming close to the 61.8. Sometimes they will just touch it and go a little bit over, and then run the price up again. So they're acting off levels as they go. So there's that 61 that's coming. It's definitely coming into play. So are they going to be breaking through it or just using it as a springboard? They're coming mildly close to it. It looks like they're really trying to test it. So if anything, that is a better location to enter a position right up on the Fibonacci level. I think that's what we covered. That's what we've been covering before, is acting around those levels, because your chance of success around those levels are a lot stronger. So from where that is now to where the price is, 30 ticks. So even if that did break to the next baseline, the stop on that one there, the stop on that level is only 8 ticks or so. If you're taking a trade further away from the Fibonacci level, say it's a 20 tick, it's a 20 tick type of a stop loss. It's a 20 tick stop loss, and then obviously you've got an 80 target. From there, even trading back to the baseline, you've got a larger target type of a thing. So this is coming too close to this, and it's really just been bouncing around it. So it's it's broken through. Okay, so if we look at this level now, so I'm going to just put this in the middle of the chart. and just see what the next level is. So the next level below is the 76.4. That's the hourly one. So you can do it like a 50-50 risk reward type of a situation here. You could say you can predict it's either going to come down or it's going to go up based on, you know, where the price is now. So you can go, I'm going to say, I'm going to put a buy limit over here on the baseline, and I'm either going to predict so I put my stop over there, but I'm actually going to put my target over here, because the reasoning behind that is we've got that is the next strong Fibonacci level. There's no strong Fibonacci level up over here. We've just had the 61.8. So that's the only level in play over there, and the price is on that level. So it really can go in any direction from here, but it's probably more likely to be going up, at least temporarily, because there's no strong resistance up for the price. Just like the price broke down very easily, the price can actually break back up again pretty easily. We've also hit the 61.8 Fibonacci for the 5-minute chart, and that is a stronger level to work on. The sad thing is I did this yesterday twice, and it actually caught me out. Now, the automatic strategy has entered a position there, so it's going to have its stop and its target in place. So even though if this happens on a live account too, if you have two opposing strategies running, you're going to have, it'll show as flat, but it's going to leave the stops and the targets in play. So as soon as this target, or this is the stop for the sell strategy, for the sell order, and now that's actually trailed the price a bit. But the buy order that I put in play is this one over here and this one over here. So you could actually have the situation where this one hits its target, but the original position I entered is still, then it will release that trade, that one order, and then the original position that I just entered would be in a loss until, you know, the price obviously returns back to the baseline. If the price returns to the baseline and that signal that this strategy entered becomes a buy signal over here, then we'll have two orders in that direction. But right now, this is a reverse sell on this one. So this one currently is actually was in an order. So if I paused that, which would have put that one which would have closed that order off, this existing one is now moving down there, because that is where the price would have been for that to actually. That is basically where the price was once I paused the strategy, and then the existing order came into play. So it kind of dropped it a bit. So our MNQ, that's been plodding along. We've had a few positions over there that have been buying a profit target. So we've had a few profit targets on that one, and over there too, we've had a profit target, which is good. So those have been effective so far. If I just look at the strategy performance of this one and I go real time, it's only made $19 on the 5 positions since that one's been active. But yeah, I'm more interested in, oh crap, what am I doing? Pressing something. I'm more interested in the NQ with this flat baseline. So watching what the price is doing, watching where more than likely price is going to be going. This 61.8 has been a bit of a resistance for price. So, but you know, there's nothing stopping this price coming up, which is awesome. But there's a lot more underneath the price at this stage. So that's in play at the moment. Whether it's going to go hit that base, it depends how long it's going to take for that to actually go and break up or break down. We'll see how that goes. I think for the last 20 minutes or so, I'm going to, hang on, this was in a pause situation already. So on the NQ at least, I'm just going to pause that and just run with this approach here with the flat baseline and just entering the manual positions and predicting a baseline break either up or down. So right now I've got this in play. So the baseline is over there. And for the baseline to break, it will need to go and hit that area. So it's actually a little bit lower than that. It's actually 100 ticks is there. So this, if I had to move this over here, that is exactly that'll be where the price would need to go for the baseline to break down. And obviously this one over here is where the price would need to go for the price to break up. So it's a 50-50 risk reward type of a thing over there. So if you're entering a position on the baseline itself, then you've got that. And the good thing is if you're entering a position on the baseline itself, you're going to have the price more than likely bouncing around the wick. So you could even exit positions earlier, you know, with 20, 30 tick profits. You just don't want to be closing off too many positions at a small profit and then having baselines break and you've got a larger loss. If you can enter a distance away from the baseline like we've done over here, or like where this position is located, it's a further distance away from the baseline. Then obviously when the price returns to the baseline and it goes up, you've got a much higher exiting would be at a good profit there too. I've got an automated strategy for these type of baselines. So it automatically takes positions below the baseline buy and it takes sell positions coming back down. So that's like it basically trades those wicks. And if the price is running a baseline for an extended period of time, all those positions are profitable, which can be very awesome. So Eduardo, you're on the Zoom here too. Have you had any positions yourself? I might just message you. So the MNQ has had a few positions enter, hit their targets. They're entering though, there seems to be quite a big gap in the slippage here. So, I don't know why there's such a huge gap with the price. But if I look up and I look at the ruler, if I'm looking at where the signal is and where the trade enters, that is 4 ticks. So that's quite a high value. Right. So we've got Jim on the YouTube that's been having good results with his one, with his settings, and wow, and Johnny too. Okay, so with our MNQ, we've had the price break down to a new baseline over there on the 50. But what's happening on the 100? Let's have a look at the 100 and just see what the story is over there. The automated strategy seems to be doing well on the MNQ at this moment in time. It's probably going to hit this little target, hopefully. Coming up to the 11. So as the price is coming down over here like this, coming closer to the 76, it's probably going to bounce off there. So taking a chance on that one, coming back, taking a chance on that one as the price to come up. So the automated strategy, we did pause it, so that's fine. We'll see what happens with this. So 10 more minutes in the session here. Let's see what happens. Now the price has recently stayed below the 61.8. So if this price comes up again and keeps failing at this value, then we know that it's probably going to come down for the rest. It's going to come down afterwards. So this level we're looking at over there, I must be stuffed because I can't even remember the colors anymore. That is the deep pink. So that's the daily Fibonacci, the 61.8 of the daily Fibonacci. So even if you're taking trades like that and you're targeting back to the baseline, as you can see, the price very often returns back to the baseline and has these deviations away from price. And when the price has deviations away from the baseline, I think our next trading session should be on just this type of approach with the baseline trading. But that's not what ideally what I want to do with this group though. So I'm gonna continue with the flat baseline like we have. I might do some work over the weekend and just do some further analysis on bar sizes and things like that. And we're still going to keep a record of all of our trading performance. So I'm keeping the account performance and everything reconciled. So we'll still have a good picture of all of that. So yeah, we are down at the moment. We dropped quite a bit today, but overall, we're going to end positive, because we are going to have days. We are going to have days on the strategies where they do make a few $1,000s in a day. Now, there are going to be days where you can make $3,000-$4,000 in a day on these strategies, on the NQ, and $300-$500 on the MNQ in a day. It's very possible that can happen with the right settings. So just a little bit of work to be done to optimize the different bar sizes and stuff like that. So on days where we dropped, I think 1.5 today is what's happened. There are days that's going to completely make that up. So having the right settings, having the right bar size, and some days we're going to get it a bit wrong. We're going to drop a bit, and then other days we're going to hit it smack on the head. So I was actually looking at the performance of what's that big trader in the world, Warren Buffett, I think. And I was looking at his trading portfolio, or his trading results, and he actually went through an entire year of losses every single month, and then the next year absolutely killed it. So I think that's just the nature of trading. We all want to make money every single day, but as long as at the end of a period, we don't want to obviously go a month of losing. We want to make sure that after a month we are still way up. But there will be days, and even consecutive days, where we're not doing as well as what we should be doing. Yeah. So I was looking at this earlier. So the Warren Buffett, the portfolio for the stocks, and the results, very interesting. So yeah, he hasn't had many losing years, but they definitely have happened. Oh, there we go. So on our 101 analytical chart, we entered that position and basically predicted that baseline to be breaking up. So that was a good thing. So that is the cool thing about these baselines, is you can, you're predicting, first of all, it's a 50-50 chance whether the price it's either going to break up or break down. So you immediately got that in your favor, or not in your favor, you got that as a 50-50 risk reward. But then seeing the seeing the different Fibonacci levels, seeing those where they are, and any of these deviations from the baseline, like there was even a previous baseline, any of these deviations coming up to that 76 level, there's a higher chance of that price going up because of the levels below. And you can just keep looking back on your charts. Sometimes you'll have the levels on the baseline. That's very hard to predict. That's extremely hard to predict where that's going to be going. But the 50% is much stronger than the 76. So even with this one, you would have been better off predicting the price going up. But these little baselines come into play all the time, And sometimes, very often, the price will come and touch a very strong level of support, which is what it did at the beginning of this session when we started, that 51%, and then predicting that those price break ups. Right, listen, I can't even speak anymore. Yeah, so yeah, John, I did enter 2 contracts on that NQ, and that was it did actually. That was a winner today, so that was pretty cool. But that was a manual thing. Now I entered 2 positions because what I basically did was the first position over here, the first position that was entered was on the baseline actually. So I entered on the baseline, and I was predicting a baseline break up because there's a strong Fibonacci level again. So then what happened again was, as the price was going, I entered a second position over here with a much smaller stop because it was over here, and then the price went up and actually broke up. So there was 2 positions in the right direction, which is pretty good. Okay, so we're coming up to 11 a.m. and we're at a position now where we are between Fibonacci levels. So this 0.00 you're seeing here, that is the 61.8 of the God, what is it? Daily. So where the green, so where the 240-minute Fibonacci 61.8 starts, then we have Fibonacci levels going up to the 100. So that is the 0 level of the 61.8 Fibonacci. So you'll find that there's the 0, 38, 61, and so they go up to 100, which is all over there. So again, over here, you've got very strong levels. So if you were looking at entries over here, if you had a 100 target stop, I haven't got a 100, damn it. So just quickly creating one over here. You can even click on edit, and you can choose a 100 stop and a 100 target. And you can save it as a template and call it 100_100 and do that. Oh, that really exists. So there was one. See, okay, where is it? There we go, 100_100. So in this type of situation, even though you're not going to be doing a 100 tick target, you can we're very far from the baseline right now. I mean, we're very close to the baseline. But if there's a much higher chance of this price at least returning to this baseline and breaking through all these levels above. But ideally, you want to enter this higher up on the wick. And because there are stronger levels above than below, again, we did this yesterday and it didn't work out well in our favor, but that is, we're coming up to the 76 over here. So as the heck of it, I'm going to actually enter another position over there as the price came down, unfortunately. But even just predicting that there's a higher chance of the price coming back down to the baseline compared to going and forming a new baseline, because it has to break through so many levels to actually get to that next baseline. But coming up to 11, there's normally a huge push over there. California, I think, is open at 11. And they're crazy mad hatters, as everybody knows. Isn't a democratic stronghold, the California? Okay, thanks, Jim. Have a good one. Okay, so I'll just end this. I'm going to end the session over here. We've got, we've got, it's 11 o'clock a.m., which means it is 1 a.m. where I am. So I'm going to climb off after this. We'll just let this exit and we'll just look at the previous positions. So with the, with that, even if you've got 101 flat baseline chart like we have over here, and you apply the strategy that we've got to the 101 chart, you're also going to have a similar type of a, you'll have those trades entering. And if you've got a, your target and trading stop on that, that's also a good approach to work with. So having your, 101 thing, and then, as that price runs that baseline, you've got more opportunities there for your targets to actually be hit. So I'm going to just leave that over here. We've got this. We haven't got a strategy running over here, only the MNQ. But I'll just let this finish off, and then I'll close off the session. So this 76, the 76 level has been retested again over here. It keeps being retested by the look of it. The 76 level. We've got the 38 above. There's actually, if this holds, like if the 76 holds, there's not much to stop it from going all the way up to the hourly 50. So there's a big gap. There's a very big gap above the 76.4. So you can imagine that when this is broken, it's going to shoot right up. So there's a bit more resistance underneath it, but that doesn't mean they're gonna just come and then they won't come and retest it. But yeah, very high likelihood that this is going to be rising up. We've got some very strong levels above. So after the 50, then you've got a few more levels there. So the automated strategy that I have for this wick trader is basically enters positions on this wick at different levels. So you can choose how far up the wick it enters positions. It's definitely not a set and forget strategy. It is a strategy that you have to use like a signal chart for. So ideally what you're wanting to look for is you're looking for opportunities of, if I duplicate this in a new tab, I'll see if I can bring it up very quickly while this is running. And even if you're going on like a 22 bar, like this, the idea behind this is actually to only activate the strategy when you're having a good signal on your signal chart. So if you've got the trend following indicator and you're applying that, we've obviously been facing a huge uptrend for quite a while on this, but on the previous wicks of the price, you would have seen it. There's opportunities to basically enter a position when you've got a clear trend that has formed in a specific direction. So especially when you've got the price below the trend following like that, that's a good, that the price is more likely to go up. So even if you've got your Fibonacci levels loaded on a chart like this, and you are watching you're watching where the price is in relation to the indicator price is breaking through specific levels, staying above. You can also use those levels as your stops based on what price is doing. So you got the 50%, you got the 76.4s. There are a few different levels that you can use, but then also using the trend following as your guide to stay in a position for even longer while that trend is still in effect. So you can always use your trailing stop to keep moving price up, and maybe even using these Fibonacci levels as your support structures as the price is going up. So even over there, using that as your trail could be a good thing to work with too. And then obviously, as the price comes down, as the trend completely changes, which it did over there, you're doing the same type of thing over there. You're entering your sell positions. You're using your Fibonacci levels as your support and resistance type of a thing, like that. Trading the price down, and then obviously you'll get stopped out at something like that. Good. So yeah, you guys can jump off whenever you want. I am just going to watch this until this finishes. So price has actually broken up, and I put that stop just above where the price would need to go for the baseline to break. And it's really coming back and testing the 61.8 level. So that seems to be a very, very strong level that it's coming back to retest. So often you'll have a breakout in price, and then it'll come and retest that Fibonacci level. And who knows? But yeah, in that case, we were fortunate though, because the price broke up. It didn't go much higher. And that's also why I always put the stop a few percentage points above where the baseline would break, because you'll be so surprised how often the price would break up to form a new baseline, but then actually come back down again straight away. So that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but the amount of times that it happens, it's still saving you 100 ticks. Like even over here, you can see the price just formed a new baseline and then went up again. Especially if it's near a strong Fibonacci level. So that can very often be the case. Sometimes it'll go up a little bit more and kick you out, which is very unfortunate. Cool. So I'm going to leave that there. We didn't have a very good session, unfortunately. But we will continue, and I'll update the group. I was not planning on running a session tomorrow. I'm literally extremely exhausted. So I take Fridays off in general. I've been doing a lot of coding and stuff, so that's been taking up a lot of my energy. But anyway, I will see you guys soon. Thank you, and chat soon.